What I'm about to share with you isn't for everyone. What you're about to see has the power to open you up to a world filled with meaning, purpose, and connection that goes beyond what you've ever imagined. If you're not ready to open yourself up to new possibilities, this video isn't for you. But if you're looking for clarity and purpose, stick around until the end. My name is Cosmin, and today we're not just going to explore ideas. We're going to reveal how the universe is constantly sending you signals, calling you to awaken to the greatness that already lives within you. The secrets of synchronicity are there, waiting for you to discover them. Imagine for a moment something you've probably experienced before. You're at home, surrounded by familiar objects. A book that's been gathering dust on your shelf for years, forgotten. Just like some dreams and aspirations of yours that you've left behind, sits there, waiting to be rediscovered. An inexplicable impulse makes you reach out and take it. As you open its pages, you come across a phrase that you don't just read, you feel. It's as if that sentence was written specifically for you, as if it was destined to meet you at this precise moment in your life. You feel an inner jolt, something awakens in you, a truth that had been hidden, waiting for the exact moment to be recognized. It's not just a phrase, it's an echo that resonates deep within your soul, something that connects you to a part of yourself that you had forgotten, ignored, or simply put off. Now that part comes alive and can no longer be ignored. Hours later, you decide to leave the house. Life outside goes on as usual. The hustle and bustle of the street, the sound of cars, people talking, everyone immersed in their routine. But you were somewhere else mentally, still processing what that sentence awakened in you. And suddenly, in the middle of all that chaos, you hear a conversation between two strangers, and one of them says the same words that struck you in the book. You freeze. That sentence hits you like a bolt of lightning, again and again, and in that instant everything changes. You can no longer see it as a simple coincidence. Something much deeper is at play. These are the moments when the universe speaks to you, gives you a sign, and challenges you to open your eyes to a bigger reality. Synchronicities. They are not insignificant coincidences. They are portals to a deeper truth, an invitation to look beyond the obvious, to get in touch with the power and purpose that beats within you. What you need to understand is that synchronicities are mirrors. They don't just reflect something external, but they reflect you back. They force you to look at yourself and ask yourself, what part of me needs to be acknowledged right now? What message is the universe trying to deliver to me? Every time you experience synchronicity, it is not a mere coincidence that you can ignore. It is a calling, an invaluable opportunity to open doors that lead to deep inner knowledge. These are moments when the universe gives you a direct message, a truth that you have been avoiding or perhaps never knew existed. But right now in front of you is the opportunity to expand your consciousness and reconnect with who you really are. Synchronicities are the awakening. They are the universe's way of guiding you toward a greater understanding of your life, your purpose, and what really matters. Each of these moments, no matter how small, can change everything if you are willing to see it. Get ready because these signs are there, and they are waiting for you to recognize them. Throughout my career, and following in the footsteps of Carl Jung, one of the great pioneers of the study of the human soul and mind, I realized something very powerful. Synchronicities tend to appear when we are most disconnected from our center. It is as if the universe, or as Jung described it, our own psyche, sends us signals to realign us with our real purpose. It is in those moments of confusion or crisis, when it seems we have strayed, that these signals emerge to guide us back. Jung firmly believed that synchronicities were not simply external events, but manifestations of the collective unconscious, reflecting our internal state, showing us what we need to see, discover, and transform within ourselves. What is fascinating, and what Jung emphasized throughout his life, is that these signs do not always appear in dramatic ways or in big events. Often, they manifest themselves in the smallest details of our daily lives. The repetitive sound of a song, a phrase you hear in a seemingly unimportant conversation, or even the unexpected behavior of someone close to you, are subtle ways in which the universe and your unconscious are trying to capture your attention. Jung taught us not to underestimate the importance of the subtle, because it is in those small details where the great secrets of your personal transformation process are. Jung also highlighted something that I am deeply passionate about: the concept of individuation. This process, which he spoke about throughout his career, refers to becoming who we are truly meant to be, our most authentic version. Individuating is freeing ourselves from the masks we wear, the expectations of others, and the projections we have absorbed during our lives. Each synchronicity, according to Jung, is an invitation to get closer to that authentic version of yourself, that part of your being that is waiting to be discovered. They are not fortuitous coincidences. They are opportunities to align your life with your truest self. Another dimension that Jung emphasized is that synchronicities not only guide us on a personal level, but have the power to connect people, events, and situations that would otherwise seem completely unconnected. Jung said that these experiences could act as cosmic bridges, bringing together people who, without that synchronic impulse, might never have crossed paths. The relationships that form through synchronicities, he believed, are often the most profound and transformative, because they are not based on logic or conscious planning, but on cosmic interweaving, something much larger than our rational understanding. Jung understood that the true purpose of a synchronicity is not just self-exploration, but to remind us how deeply connected we are to everything around us. This is something Carl Jung made clear. The universe doesn't just want us to understand ourselves better, it also wants to show us our interconnection with others and with the world. Synchronicities are an invitation to understand that our lives are not isolated, that everything around us is intertwined, and that every experience has a purpose, even if we can't see it at the moment. Always remember Jung's words: everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Synchronicities give us the opportunity to see those projections, the people who appear in our lives as reflections of something we need to work on within ourselves. These cosmic signs don't just show you parts of yourself, they connect you to the whole, revealing the deep fabric of the universe and allowing you to see how every relationship, every event, is part of a larger plan. Jung believed that synchronicities are also catalysts for change, not mere events to be passively observed. They are calls to action, invitations from the universe to integrate the lessons presented to us and transform our lives. We are not here to stay in the same place, but to evolve, grow, and transform. And synchronicities act as reminders that the universe is always offering us an opportunity to do so. So, the next time you experience a meaningful coincidence, remember Jung's teachings. It's not just an external phenomenon, it's a reflection of your psyche. It's the universe and your own unconscious working together to show you something bigger, something deeper. The real question is, are you willing to see what they're showing you? Synchronicities not only guide you towards a greater understanding of yourself, but they also connect you to everything around you in a way that transcends logic and reason. And that is pure power. This is where one of the most powerful truths that Carl Jung bequeathed to us is revealed. Synchronicities are not passive events. They are catalysts for profound change. They are not meant to be mere curiosities that we observe from a distance. Each synchronicity you experience carries with it a transformative energy, a force that, if you choose to listen to it, has the power to alter the course of your life. These signals contain the necessary impulse for something inside you or in your environment to move, change, or evolve. But here's the crucial thing. If you ignore these signs, if you dismiss them as mere coincidences, that energy doesn't go away. It sits there, dormant, accumulating in your life, waiting for the moment when you're finally ready to receive it and act on it. Jung insisted that these signs, when left unheeded, lose their chance to bring about the change you need. However, if you choose to recognize and act on them, a chain of events is set in motion, transforming your reality in ways you never imagined. This is the true hidden power of synchronicities, their ability to create movement in those areas of your life that are stagnant and that need to be seen in a new light. The more you align yourself with your true self, the clearer and more frequent these synchronicities become. Jung emphasized the importance of this alignment with your most authentic essence, as it is precisely in those moments, when we are in touch with our true nature, that the signals become unmistakable. It is as if the universe begins to fine-tune its language with you, speaking more directly, more clearly. Coincidences that once seemed random become keys that unlock a deeper understanding of who you are, what you are doing here, and what your role is within the vast cosmos. This is not a passive process. Synchronicities not only show you the way, they also transform you in the process. Each synchronicity is an invitation to move, to take a step forward in your life, to make decisions that bring you closer to a new version of yourself. They challenge you to act, to embrace a new perspective, a new vision of yourself and your relationship with the world around you. They are much more than simple coincidences. They are the language that the universe uses to speak to you. And as Jung taught us, each of these messages is loaded with meaning. Think about it for a moment. Think about how many times you've overlooked those little details that seemed insignificant at the time, but later turned out to be the key to understanding something much bigger in your life. Do you remember that phone call that came just when you needed it? That small talk that ended up completely changing the way you view a situation? Or maybe it was a piece of advice you heard without looking for it, but that seemed directed specifically at you at that moment. These are not mere coincidences, and Jung made it clear. These are synchronicities, little doors that the universe opens in front of you, inviting you to see beyond the superficial, to understand that there is something much deeper and more significant that is happening in every moment of your life. The most extraordinary thing about synchronicities is that they don't just show you something about the outside world, they reveal something about yourself. They challenge you to recognize the areas of your life that need to be transformed and to take control of that transformative power. But more importantly, they remind you that you are not alone in this process. The universe is constantly communicating with you, guiding you and showing you the way. If you are willing to see, listen, and above the question I leave you with is this: what will you do when you recognize the synchronicities in your life? Will you just watch them from a distance, or will you dare to enter into that flow that invites you to change, to move, to evolve? Remember, each synchronicity is a call from the universe that tells you there is more for you. You just need to take the next step. During my exploration of the concept of synchronicity, I realized that life does not follow a strictly causal and linear sequence as we often imagine. Carl Jung taught us that we live in a universe where the seen and the unseen are deeply intertwined, connecting our everyday reality with forces that our conscious mind cannot always fully understand. What fascinated me in my studies, and what Jung illuminated with his work, is the existence of a higher intelligence, a mysterious and wise force that guides our lives in ways that defy rational logic. This intelligence weaves our experiences into a larger, meaningful web if we are willing to pay attention and recognize the signs. Let me share with you one of the most powerful moments I experienced related to synchronicities, an experience that left an indelible mark on my understanding of these hidden forces. During a session with a patient, she began to recount a dream in which a golden scarab played a central role. The scarab, a symbol charged with power, appeared in her dream as a sign of transformation. As she spoke, something unexpected happened. A real scarab hit the window of my office at that very moment. It was a moment that defied all logical explanation. In that second, I understood that this was not a coincidence, but a powerful synchronicity, a message that the universe, or the collective unconscious, as Jung called it, was sending us to open us to a deeper understanding. Act. That experience was a turning point, not only for my patient, but for me as well. The synchronicity we witnessed opened the door to a significant breakthrough in therapy, revealing truths that would otherwise have remained hidden beneath the surface of our conscious understanding. Jung told us that these events are reflections of the collective unconscious, and in this case, it was as if that timeless, symbolic network had decided to manifest itself in the physical world to push us both toward a new awareness. This led me to a crucial conclusion, one that Jung developed throughout his life. Synchronicities are reflections of the collective unconscious. They are not simply isolated occurrences. They are windows into a deeper reality, connected to something vast that transcends our individual experiences. Through these experiences, we can glimpse how our individual minds are intrinsically linked to something larger, something that transcends time and space and operates through symbols and archetypes that we all share. Jung called this the web of the collective unconscious, a universal repository of shared experiences that manifests in our lives through patterns and symbols that remind us of our connection to all of humanity, to the past, present, and future. Synchronicities allow us to access this higher level of reality, a level where linear time as we know it does not exist. What happens in the present can resonate with something from the past or even anticipate possible futures. Jung explained that these experiences transcend the rules of linear time because the collective unconscious is not bound by time as our conscious mind is. At this level, the barriers that separate past, present, and future dissolve, allowing us to feel that timeless connection. What makes this phenomenon so fascinating is that these synchronicities operate in a domain that our rational mind cannot predict or control. Jung used to say that it is precisely when we stop trying to control everything with our conscious mind, when we stop imposing strict logic on our experiences, that these synchronicities start to appear more frequently. It is in those moments of openness and acceptance that we realize that the universe is sending messages all the time. We just need to be receptive enough to see them. Synchronicities not only connect us to our individual unconscious, but also to the collective unconscious. This vast reservoir of shared experiences, which we all carry within us, is a source of infinite wisdom that Jung described as an essential part of our psyche. This is where the true power of synchronicities lies. They act as a bridge between what we know at a conscious level and the depths of that vast collective unconscious. They allow us to access universal truths, archetypes, and symbols that have been shared for generations. Each synchronicity is a glimpse of this deeper truth, a reminder that our lives are not independent, but part of a much larger tapestry. Our ancestors deeply understood this hidden power. For them, symbols, dreams, and coincidences were not just accidents of daily life. They were divine signs, messengers from the universe guiding the course of their destinies. In ancient cultures, whether oracles in Greece or shamans in indigenous tribes, synchronicity, although they did not call it that, was a sacred form of communication between the human and the divine. Despite the great distance that separates us from those times, these ancient truths remain as relevant as they were then. In the modern world, often filled with noise and distraction, each synchronicity we experience is an invitation to reconnect with that ancient wisdom. It reminds us that we are not alone in our journey, but that we are part of a vaster, timeless network connected through time, space, and human experience. Carl Jung left us with a radically transformative insight. We are interconnected beings, one more piece in the vast symbolic fabric that transcends our individuality. Each synchronicity that occurs in your life is not merely an isolated event, but a reminder of this deeper truth. It invites us to recognize that our reality is much richer, more complex than our senses allow us to see. Not everything we experience can be explained through the logical laws of cause and effect. Synchronicities act as windows into a deeper dimension, where invisible connections between events, people, and decisions reveal a hidden order that guides our evolution. Most importantly, these experiences invite us to live consciously. They ask us to be awake and attentive to the signals that the universe is constantly sending us. They are not just isolated messages, but gentle nudges that guide us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship with the world around us. Jung spoke of the importance of living in connection with the flow of life, and synchronicities are tools that the universe gives us to make sure that we are aligned with our path. And here's a key truth that's often misunderstood. Synchronicities don't just appear when we're spiritually connected or in balance. They frequently emerge in moments of chaos, confusion, or disorientation. It's as if the universe, seeing our uncertainty, decides to give us a little nudge. It shows us that even when we feel lost, we're being guided. These moments are signs that we're on the right path, or that we need to readjust our course. It's precisely in times of crisis or doubt that synchronicities invite us to reconnect with our deeper purpose, to remember who we are beyond the roles we play in daily life and the masks we wear to fit in with our surroundings. Carl Jung said there is something very powerful that resonates with this idea. What you resist persists. In those moments when we try to hold on to what is known, to what we believe is safe, is when we most easily lose the ability to see and recognize synchronicities. Resistance to the new and the unknown closes us off to the infinite possibilities that the universe is trying to show us. But when we let go, when we stop resisting and allow things to flow as they are, then these signs become visible. It is a game between the conscious and the unconscious, between the visible and the invisible, a delicate balance in which we must learn. Synchronicities remind us that not everything can be understood through the logical mind. Sometimes it is necessary to allow ourselves to feel, intuit, and receive, to open ourselves to the mystery without the need to explain everything immediately. Jung urged us to embrace the unknown, to walk through that uncertain terrain where logic does not always have all the answers. In doing so, we allow ourselves to enter the flow of life, where synchronicities can manifest more fully and where we can grasp the true message that is being sent to us.to move. What you need to understand is that synchronicities are not a static phenomenon. Every time we experience one, the universe is inviting us to act. It is not enough to simply acknowledge synchronicity and let it pass. We must integrate the message it brings us and act accordingly. This interaction, this constant dialogue with the universe, is what allows us to grow, move forward, and transform our reality. Synchronicities are essentially calls to action. They are impulses from the universe that show you the next step in your journey. But, as always, it is up to you to decide whether you take that step or not. Jung understood it perfectly. It is not enough to simply observe the phenomenon of synchronicity from afar. We must actively participate in it. Change happens when we interact with these signals, when we allow them to transform us, guide us, and open us up to new possibilities. Every synchronicity is telling you, there is something here for you. It is showing you the next step in your evolution. But it is up to you to recognize the signal and act on it. Remember that the frequency and impact of synchronicities in your life depends on your openness and willingness to listen to them. The more aware we are of our connection to the whole, the more aligned we are with our true essence, the more frequent and profound our experience of synchronicities will be. Jung described this process as individuation, the path to becoming our true self. Synchronicities are the invisible guides that lead us on that journey towards authenticity, towards meeting our deepest self. What I want to make clear to you is that you are not alone on this journey. The universe is constantly speaking to you, showing you the next steps. Your task is to be present, receptive, and act with an open heart. Synchronicities are much more than just signs. They are a manifestation of your connection to something much bigger than yourself, something that invites you to live more fully, more consciously, and more authentically. Carl Jung taught us that synchronicity not only invites us to contemplate the mystery of cosmic connections, but also reveals our relationship with the unknown. He saw life as a network between the inner and outer world, where our external experiences are often projections of what we carry inside. This concept of projection is fundamental to understanding how synchronicities are not only external signals that we must interpret, but reflections of our own emotional and mental state. When we experience synchronicity, it is not simply the universe speaking. It is our own psyche expressing itself through the symbols that the world offers us. Jung saw it as an ongoing dialogue between our unconscious and the universe, in which synchronized external events are not random, but symbolic responses to our internal dilemmas. In many cases, synchronicity is the bridge that connects our deepest desires with the material world, revealing paths to us that we would not otherwise have seen. One of Jung's most profound insights is that our lives are shaped by archetypes, universal patterns of behavior, emotions, and ideas that we collectively share as human beings. These archetypes are like invisible templates that guide our decisions and shape our perceptions. Synchronicities are moments when these archetypes emerge into our consciousness. When something happens in our life and we sense there is a hidden meaning, we are likely experiencing the activation of one of these archetypes in action. For example, in mythology and ancient stories, the archetype of the hero's journey is repeated over and over again. The hero is called on an adventure, encounters challenges, and in the end, returns transformed. In our own lives, synchronicities can act as calls to our own adventure, prompting us to step out of our comfort zone, confront internal and external challenges, and eventually emerge wiser and more whole. But synchronicities also reveal something fundamental that Jung explored throughout his life: the importance of the collective unconscious. This vast repository of knowledge, experiences, and symbols shared by all of humanity is something we tap into in moments of synchronicity. According to Jung, the collective unconscious contains not just the dreams and experiences of individuals, but the accumulated experiences of all of humanity. Every time you experience a synchronicity, you are, in a sense, connecting to this vastness of ancient knowledge, to a network larger than your own life. Another key teaching from Jung is that we should not fear the irrational or inexplicable. In a world that tends to glorify reason and logic, synchronicities remind us that there are larger forces at play. Jung used to say that reason is only a tool, not the goal of life. He invites us to embrace the mysterious, the symbolic, the inexplicable, not as something that needs to be solved or controlled, but as a fundamental part of the human experience. When we allow ourselves to live in that space of uncertainty, without forcing a rational explanation for everything that happens to us, we open the door to a deeper understanding of ourselves. And another aspect we often forget is that synchronicities teach us to trust the process. Through them, we learn that absolute control is an illusion, and that much of our lives unfold through forces that are outside of our conscious reach. Jung suggested that rather than striving for control, we should flow with events, allowing synchronicities to guide us toward our growth. These signs show us that there is an underlying order, a cosmic intelligence that connects the events of our lives, even when they seem chaotic or bewildering. Furthermore, Jung insisted that synchronicities are opportunities to integrate our shadows. The shadow, that aspect of our personality that we keep hidden or repressed, often manifests itself in our lives through situations and people that we do not understand or that cause us conflict. Synchronicities often arise in moments of tension, when something we have been avoiding is reflected in the external world. It is in these moments of significant coincidences that we are invited to recognize and integrate those parts of ourselves that we have left aside. For example, a person who represses his desires for change may repeatedly encounter situations that force him to reconsider his life. Synchronicities in these circumstances are not simply signs of fate, but projections of an unresolved inner need that is seeking to be addressed. As Jung explained, what we do not consciously confront in our inner life will inevitably manifest in our outer reality. Synchronicities are the vehicle through which the unconscious seeks to get our attention. Verse. And here another key teaching of Jung emerges. Synchronicities invite us into a deeper state of connection with our spiritual being. Through them, we realize that we are more than rational beings, that our lives are intertwined with something divine, with a flow of energy that belongs not only to us, but extends to everything around us. This spiritual connection is the source of our intuition, and it is precisely this intuition that often guides our interpretation of synchronicities. Jung urged us not to fall into the trap of overinterpretation. While synchronicities are valuable messages, Jung warned that not everything in life should be analyzed to exhaustion. The art of living consciously is knowing when a synchronicity is meaningful and when we should simply let things flow without looking for hidden meaning in every little event. True wisdom lies in balancing intuition and reason, in learning to discern when we should listen to the signs of the universe and when we should simply go with the flow of life itself. Jung also offered us fundamental insight into the importance of dreams in the process of synchronicity. Dreams, he argued, are a direct route to the unconscious and are often the stage where synchronicities are initiated. In the dream world, the barriers of time and space dissolve, allowing for deeper connections to occur between our minds and the universe. Dreams act as a channel between our unconscious and the larger forces of the cosmos, often showing us what is to come or pointing us to something we have overlooked. In this context, synchronicities are often an extension of what happens in the dream world. If you dream about a recurring symbol, and that same symbol appears in some form in your everyday life, you shouldn't ignore it. This isn't just a coincidence. It's a deep connection between the content of your unconscious and the external world. Jung believed that our dreams are not only a way for us to process what happens to us, but they also act as guides that show us the way forward. Many of the big decisions in life can be influenced by what we dream about, and synchronicities are the way these dream messages take shape in our daily reality. One of the less talked about aspects of synchronicities, but just as important, is that they also teach us to embrace the unexpected. Carl Jung claimed that rigidity in our lives disconnects us from the natural flow of the universe. When we hold on to rigid plans or concrete expectations of how things should happen, we block the power of synchronicity. But when we learn to let go of control, to accept that life is dynamic and full of uncertainty, synchronicities begin to flow more easily. This is one of the most powerful lessons we can learn. Mental and emotional flexibility is key to opening ourselves up to the gifts the universe has to offer us. Jung also stressed that synchronicity does not always lead to immediate or tangible results. Sometimes the true value of a synchronicity lies not in the moment it happens, but in what is triggered later. Synchronicities can be seeds planted in the unconscious, which blossom long afterward. Often, a seemingly trivial experience can resonate in our being for weeks, months, or even years, until we finally understand its meaning. In this sense, Jung invites us to be patient and trust the process. Not everything must be understood in the instant it occurs. Some synchronicities are like pieces of a puzzle that are put together over time. Another fascinating idea that Jung explored is the relationship between chance and synchronicity. In a world that teaches us that everything is determined by strict laws of cause and effect, synchronicity shows us that there is a middle ground where chance and purpose can coexist. Jung asserted that although we cannot foresee synchronicities, they are not simply accidents. At some deeper level, the universe is working in sync with our souls, showing us what we need to see when we are ready to see it. In this way, Jung broke with traditional notions of chance, suggesting that the universe has a mysterious but orderly mechanism that connects our inner and outer experiences. The ability to correctly interpret synchronicities is another fundamental aspect. Jung reminded us that the language of the universe is neither direct nor literal. The universe communicates through symbols, and these must be deciphered from a broader perspective. This is where the concept of archetypes becomes important again. Each synchronicity is usually linked to an archetype or universal symbol. For example, if you repeatedly encounter the symbol of water, it could be related to the archetype of transformation, emotional change, or purification. The real task is not simply to notice the synchronicity, but to understand what archetype is at play and how it relates to your personal life. Another amazing aspect that Carl Jung addressed about synchronicities is that they are not limited only to moments of personal insight or crisis. They can even happen in the midst of collective events. Imagine the power of a sign that not only impacts your life, but also resonates with the shared experience of many others. In times of great social or cultural upheaval, such as global crises, synchronicities are not only heightened, but become even more significant. This is because the collective unconscious, that deep network that connects all people, is activated in situations of chaos, allowing many people to experience shared symbols and events that connect them on a deeper think about it. In these moments of crisis, we are not alone in our inner experience. Synchronicities not only show us the individual path, but they also connect us to a larger pattern, one that encompasses the entire collective. It is amazing to realize that your personal crisis can be synchronized with a change on a societal or global level. This is not chance. Jung firmly believed that these collective events were symptoms of a shift in global consciousness. And you are part of that shift. Synchronicities act as signs, showing us the direction of that collective transformation, and they invite us to be in tune with that larger flow. And now, imagine this power in your individual life. When you are going through a personal crisis, those synchronicities you experience are much more than mere coincidences. They are beacons guiding you, telling you, this is the path to your growth, to your transformation. These signs are not small. They are the keys that unlock you to the next phase of your life. The question is, are you ready to see them? Level. Jung also offered us an incredibly powerful insight. Synchronicities are not just for those who are already on a spiritual path. No, not at all. Even people who have never felt a connection to the divine can have their first spiritual awakening through a meaningful synchronicity. Can you imagine what this means? It's the universe knocking on the door of someone who has never felt that connection before, telling them, wake up, there's something bigger afoot in your life here. Synchronicities can be that first whisper that makes them question the purpose of their existence, that spark that drives them to seek deeper answers, to open up to a spiritual dimension they would have previously completely ignored. And that is powerfully transformative. Synchronicities are not just messages you receive. They are doors, gateways to a more spiritual dimension of existence. Once you step through that door, there is no turning back. You begin to see the world and yourself completely differently. So, ask yourself, what synchronicities are showing you that door right now? Are you ready to enter? I'll read you in the comments. Another important insight from Jung is how the ego can interfere with our ability to recognize and understand synchronicities. Often, when we are too identified with our ego, we are unable to see the larger patterns unfolding around us. The ego seeks control, predictability, and certainty, but synchronicities, in their nature, challenge that need for control. Jung invites us to transcend the ego in order to interpret and accept synchronicities as part of the natural flow of life. It is in detachment from the ego that we find true freedom to live in harmony with these signs. Another profound dimension that Carl Jung explored regarding synchronicities is their ability to redefine our perception of time. The rational mind tends to view time as linear, a constant flow from past to present to future. However, synchronicities shatter that notion of linear time. At the moment you experience a synchronicity, it seems as if the past, present, and future converge into a single point of consciousness. This phenomenon suggests to us that time is more flexible and multidimensional than we often believe. Jung argued that the simultaneity of these synchronized events was a clue that time, as we understand it, is not absolute, but rather a mental construct. In reality, everything occurs within a larger framework, an eternal time where experiences intertwine and reflect each other, transcending chronology. This concept of simultaneity ties directly into the idea that synchronicities are not just moments, but rather gateways to deeper dimensions of reality. It is as if, in those brief moments, the barrier between the physical world and the metaphysical world dissolves, and we can glimpse a higher order. This order is not governed by the traditional laws of causality, but is based on symbolic connections that transcend conventional logic. Synchronicities, in this sense, shake us out of our usual perception, forcing us to rethink our beliefs about time, destiny, and our ability to influence what happens to us. Another fundamental contribution of Jung in relation to synchronicity is its link with the process of self-knowledge and emotional healing. Synchronicities not only guide us towards a deeper understanding of the universe, but they also act as mirrors of our emotional and psychological state. Many times, these significant coincidences occur when we are going through moments of emotional crisis, confusion, or internal change. Jung observed that synchronicities emerge in these critical moments as a call to pay attention to our internal wounds. They are not just signs from the outside. They are also manifestations of the internal work we need to do to heal and evolve. For example, if you repeatedly encounter a person or situation that provokes a strong emotional response, that synchronicity is likely reflecting a part of your shadow, that part of you that you have repressed or avoided facing. Jung urged us to see these experiences as opportunities to integrate those shadows and heal old emotional wounds. Rather than resisting or avoiding the difficult emotions that can arise with synchronicity, Jung taught us to confront them consciously, allowing the deep wisdom of the unconscious to reveal itself and show us the path to integration and healing. Another key aspect of Jung's thinking is that synchronicities invite us to redefine our concept of reality. We live in a culture that has conditioned us to think that the only thing that is real is what we can see, touch, and measure. However, Jung taught us that psychic reality is just as important as physical reality. Synchronicities allow us to break through the veil of materialistic reality and access a realm where symbols, archetypes, and the collective unconscious have as much weight and meaning as physical objects. By experiencing a synchronicity, we are interacting with that other level of reality, where the laws of the material world are superseded by a symbolic and spiritual order that guides our lives. In this sense, Jung stressed that living consciously is not just about navigating tangible reality, but about learning to recognize and dialogue with the invisible world of symbols and archetypes that constantly influence us. Synchronicities remind us that we are more than physical bodies living in a three-dimensional space. We are spiritual beings immersed in a universe full of meaning. When we accept this, our daily lives are transformed. What once seemed like insignificant coincidences now become flashes of purpose, moments charged with profound significance that we would not have otherwise noticed. This shift in perception also brings us to a reflection on the relationship between destiny and free will. Jung believed that synchronicities do not eliminate our free will, but rather complement it. Destiny is not something fixed or immutable. Rather, synchronicities show us potentialities, alternative paths that are available to us. It is our decision whether we act on them or let them pass us by. Free will lies in our ability to interpret and respond to synchronicities. So, while the universe sends us signals, the real power lies in our ability to make conscious decisions aligned with our deepest self. And there is something else we must not forget. Synchronicity also acts as a kind of moral and spiritual compass. Jung argued that when we live in alignment with our inner truth, when we are at peace with ourselves and the world around us, synchronicities tend to manifest more clearly and frequently. In other words, synchronicities not only guide us externally, but are also a reflection of our internal state of harmony. The more authentic and connected we are to our essence, the more easily synchronicities will flow into our lives. This understanding leads us to a life of greater integrity and coherence, where meaningful coincidences not only surprise us, but also become signs that we are on the right path. One more lesson Jung left us is that synchronicities don't have to be spectacular or dramatic to be powerful. Often, the most transformative moments come through small coincidences, whispers from the universe that we can only hear if we are in tune with our intuition. Great revelations don't always come in the form of dramatic experiences, but can come through subtle gestures, unexpected encounters, or recurring symbols that, although seemingly insignificant, contain within them the potential to change our perspective completely. Jung also emphasized the interrelationship between synchronicities and life cycles. In his view, life moves in cycles, and within each of these cycles, there are key moments when synchronicities tend to manifest most intensely. These turning points often coincide with personal crises, moments of change or transition, such as the end of a relationship, a career change, or a significant loss. At such times, synchronicities act as guides to navigate uncertainty, showing us that although external circumstances may seem chaotic, there is a deeper order that governs everything. This concept connects with another of Jung's teachings, the power of acceptance. Sometimes synchronicities show us paths we hadn't considered, directions that seem challenging or unexpected. However, Jung invites us to accept what is presented to us, not as a passive surrender, but as a way of being in harmony with the natural flow of life. When we learn to accept synchronicities as part of our personal evolution, we free ourselves from the constant struggle to impose our own control, and we begin to move in tune with the rhythm of the universe. Jung also teaches us that active acceptance is a powerful tool for transformation. It is not about resigning ourselves to circumstances or allowing events to unfold without questioning them, but about consciously opening ourselves to the possibility that everything that happens in our lives, especially synchronicities, has a higher purpose. This openness is essential for us to expand our consciousness and see beyond the immediate, beyond what our rational mind shows us. Accepting synchronicities involves opening a constant dialogue with the universe. Jung believed that when we stop resisting the messages presented to us and begin to flow with them, we are aligning ourselves with a larger intelligence. This intelligence invites us to see that, although we do not have absolute control over external events, we do have the power to choose how to respond to them. In this sense, acceptance is empowering because it puts us in a position of conscious collaboration with the universe, rather than seeing ourselves as victims of circumstances. One of Jung's most transformative teachings is that through synchronicities, we can also redefine our relationship to suffering and difficulty. Synchronicities often arise in the darkest moments of our lives, when we feel lost or face deep crises. Jung invites us to see these crises not as obstacles to be avoided, but as doorways to a deeper level of self-knowledge and growth. Synchronicities offer us a path through the chaos, showing us that even in the moments of greatest pain or uncertainty, there is order and purpose behind what we are experiencing. Instead of resisting suffering or trying to run away from it, Jung teaches us to integrate it as part of our individuation process. This process of integration is what allows us to grow spiritually and emotionally. Synchronicities are the universe's reminders that no matter how difficult the circumstances, there is always a light of awareness that can guide us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and our purpose. In this sense, crises are not the end, but the beginning of a new phase of evolution. Another fascinating aspect of Jung's thought is the interconnection between synchronicities and our life mission. Synchronicities not only act as guides for everyday decisions, but often signal important milestones on our journey toward fulfilling our deeper purpose. When we encounter meaningful coincidences that seem to push us in a specific direction, it is the universe showing us a path that is aligned with our spiritual mission. These signs remind us that we are not here just to survive, but to discover and manifest our highest potential. Jung also invites us to reflect on the role of intuition in interpreting synchronicities. While the rational mind has its place, it is through intuition that we can truly unlock the deep messages the universe is sending us. Intuition connects us to the collective unconscious, allowing us to access a level of understanding that transcends the logical and linear. Listening to our intuition allows us to interpret synchronicities not as isolated events, but as part of a larger narrative that the universe is weaving to guide us. It is essential to understand that intuition is not a magical power that only some possess, but rather a skill that we can all develop. Jung believed that intuition was strengthened as we cultivated our connection with the unconscious through practices such as meditation, self-analysis, and reflection. The more refined our intuition is, the more easily we can pick up on synchronicities and use them as tools of transformation and guidance. In this sense, each of us has the power to become our own oracle, capable of reading the signs of the universe and acting ACC. Furthermore, Jung proposed that synchronicities are intimately linked to archetypes that are activated in our lives at key moments. Archetypes are universal patterns that emerge at times of profound transformation. Each synchronicity we experience is associated with a particular archetype, such as the hero, the sage, or the seeker, which represents a stage or challenge we must face in our personal journey. By recognizing which archetype is active in our life, we can harness the energy of that synchronicity to advance our process of individuation. For example, if you are going through a phase in which you continually encounter symbols or references to the figure of the hero, Jung would invite you to ask yourself, what challenges am I called to overcome? What inner or outer journey am I about to undertake? The synchronicities that activate archetypes challenge us to grow, to make decisions that push us towards our personal evolution, reminding us that we are not alone on this journey, but that we are connected to universal forces and patterns that guide us. Accordingly, another crucial insight is that synchronicities are an opportunity to break out of our internal limitations. Jung teaches us that we often live trapped in patterns of thought or behavior that limit our growth. Synchronicities act as disruptions, as wake-up calls that show us that there are more possibilities than we think. They push us to leave our comfort zones and explore new directions, redefining our boundaries and expanding our beliefs about what is possible. It is important to emphasize that synchronicities teach us about trust. Trusting that the universe has an order, even if it is sometimes invisible to us, is a key step in our process of spiritual development. Jung invites us to cultivate a radical trust in the process of life, to believe that everything that happens, even the challenges, is serving our growth and evolution. When we trust in synchronicities, we free ourselves from the need to control every aspect of our lives, allowing things to flow naturally. Ultimately, synchronicity is a constant challenge to live in alignment with your deepest truth. Every sign, every meaningful coincidence is calling you to wake up and recognize that nothing is random, that there are greater forces guiding every step you take. This is your moment. It's your chance to open your eyes and see that the universe is speaking directly to you, whispering to you what the next step is toward a fuller, more meaningful life, in total harmony with the whole. Carl Jung understood it perfectly. The true magic of synchronicity is its ability to reconnect us with who we really are, to remind us that we are part of something immense, something cosmic. So now I ask you, are you ready to listen to the universe? Comment below on what synchronicity has changed your life or what signs are guiding you right now. I want to hear your story. And if this message has resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss any powerful content. And hit the like button so that together we can continue to unravel the mysteries that connect us to the cosmos.